Hello, my name is Calum Mckinlay. Welcome to the Gallus Podcast, where today I'm joined by Ryan Robertson.
That is me. Hello, how are you doing?
I'm doing good, but I'm about to be doing a whole lot better.
That
because
is true.
Today we're going to be covering one of my favourite movies of all time.
It is also one of my favourite films.
Yeah, which is the Tollywood epic, the highest budgeted film in Indian film history.
Yep.
And one of the few foreign movies to win an American Oscar award.
Yes, and many Academy Awards as well.
Many. And that film, of course, is RRR, which stands for...
Rise, Roar, Revolt.
Took you a second there.
Don't worry. Don't worry about it. In the episode, we will be covering such things as, well, what actually happens.
Yeah, so we'll be recounting the film, its many plot points, various interesting facts.
Interesting facts, yeah. I know some interesting facts.
Yes.
I've got the old trivia. You've got some trivia.
Yes.
I've got some trivia. You might learn something. If you haven't seen the film, don't waste your time listening to this podcast. Watch the film. That's probably more beneficial to you.
Yes.
And then if you want to give us some time, stay tuned for this feature-length double edition. Welcome to the Gallus Podcast. This is what you can expect every single Friday for the rest of your life.
Yeah.
Bon appetit. RRR. What an absolute masterpiece this film is. I have seen the film 3 times. Once, a mate sat down, he forced me to watch this film. He said, no, come on, get it watched. It was already on my watch list, but it's a 3-hour long film. It just never found itself prioritising its way to the top. But one night he dragged me to his household and he was like, we have to watch this. It is the best thing in ages. And you know what? He was damn right. I since forced my father to watch it, and I think he liked it. Didn't think it'd be his thing, but I'm pretty sure I had him turned around. And then I forced my girlfriend to watch the first hour, to which she thought was not entertaining enough. Do better, is what I said to her, and then watched the other 2 hours myself ahead of recording this. Why is RRR so good? I'm not going to get into the Tollywood and Indian cinema discussion, along with the controversiality over its mainstream appeal, blah, 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 over its mainstream success, I should also add in, and how it may shed a bad light on the rest of Indian cinema, a positive light on the rest of Indian cinema, so on and so forth. Not a debate I am going to talk about or have with nobody. What I will talk about is how damn good this film is. You want to talk about hooks? It has one of the greatest openings to a film in recent memory, where a wee lady gets a log smashed over her head because she's not allowed to be shot because of the value of a bullet being worth more than the value of her. That's how you introduce a bad guy. That's how you introduce the tone of the film, which is a comedy, serious period piece set in 1920s British Empire colonialised India. It's such a fun setting for a film, and everything, because it's Tollywood, is so over the top in the best way. The explosions are double the size of a regular explosion. The laughs are double as a regular laugh. The confidence from your characters, the charisma, is double the amount of your average charisma and the character. I think about RRR and I smile. That's how good this film is. There is so many sequences in the film that will stick with me forever, and it's this kind of pace that I aspire to one day write like and in. I could stop talking about RRR. I have said that before, but I have also then stated I'm not going to because I don't want to. The film just does something that captures what I love about filmmaking. Fire, water. It's surrealism that it throws at you really, really early on about one of the characters represented by fire, the other represented by water, and well, the two don't mix well, and they have to be best friends. Well, they end up being best friends, and they do mix, and they end up kind of converging and swapping in philosophies and morals, and their bond and their representation kind of grows and changes, and you learn about the characters. You feel so much watching this film, and you feel so much more when you research it. I've done a lot of research into RRR, including listening to an hour sit-down interview with Ram Charan, the actor that plays Ramaraju in the film, one of our main characters, the fire representative, who has the best introduction to a character I have ever seen, where he massacres, and not massacre, that's not the word, he outfights 3,000 men and is able to capture someone. I recommend this film to you if you are a average British lad or an average American dude or an average Filipino. I recommend you give it a chance. You might not think it'll be your teacup or cup of tea or whatever my next step in this phrase is when you sit down to watch it, but believe me, it is everyone's cup of tea, except for my girlfriend, of whom I will yell at a little bit more for disliking RRR, because RRR is an absolute marvel, and I haven't even spoke about the songs in the film yet. Halfway into the film, there is a song called Natu Natu that deserves the Oscar it won. What a song, what a dance number. It has teleportation. It's also a fight sequence. How do you make a song a fight sequence? Well done, director S.S. Rajamouli. You did it well. And I was on the edge of my seat, and I was smiling, and I was giggling like a little boy watching that sequence, because it's really, really, really good. Another sequence with a brilliant song is Beam's flogging, public whipping and hanging and all that exciting stuff, where he's whipped and forced onto his knees, but at no point does he go to his knees, and instead he responds by singing a song that causes the crowd to riot and protest and fight back. You feel that song, it is insanely powerful. Throughout the film, it also has a similar song play about their friendship and their dynamic and where they are destined to end up, and that is another insanely good song. Everything about this film is just the absolute best. The absolute best. The ending song and dance number is also amazing. I cannot pick a favourite part of this film. It changes daily, every time I think about it. The shots in the film are also spectacular. You might think in a kind of big budget blockbuster that it would just be that, and the shots wouldn't be so decorately taken care of, but no, every single shot, every single sequence in this film, every single frame, you can tell the effort went in by the director, by everyone involved in the film. They cared about what they were making, and that makes you care about what it is they have made. There is a sequel coming out of which I have no idea what it's going to be about, but I am fully on board. I'm in love with the characters, which is all you need for a sequel. Just continue their journeys and continue the world. I'm on board with the world that we find ourselves in. And the ending to this film is just chef's kiss payoff. It is payoffs to every single thing that the film has referenced or set up in any way. And, oh man. See RRR, get it watched, because you'll be a lot happier with your life once you do. And you know what, see, even if you don't enjoy it, because it might not be for everyone, you at least have tried something that you wouldn't have regularly tried, and you'll have joined the majority of the people on Netflix who have actually seen RRR. I'd rather advise you get the DVD and you listen to it in Telugu as I'm going to do, and have yourself a very lovely time.
RRR is one of the greatest films I have ever seen in my entire life. From the moment you start watching, the film grips your attention until the very end. It never really slows down. If it slows down, it makes it worth it. There's no point in this film where you're like, this is a bit boring, really. I want to turn this off. It's just incredible. When the film starts, we get a very beautifully shot scene. It's a very dramatic scene. We get one of the funniest moments in the film, when the woman gets smacked in the head by the log, when she gets brutalised by the log. But that scene, despite how I just think it's pretty funny, it is so good in the fact that it immediately makes our villains worth hating. It makes the antagonists worth hating in the film. It immediately shows you who to hate and how much to hate them. And then after that, we get introduced to the main character in an amazing scene. Now, I know I said the main character, I meant that because compared to Ram, Beam is really just a side character in RRR. He really is, compared to Ram's raw testosterone. When he solos 3,000 people, it's incredible. It really is. The soundtrack in the film is iconic. I'm pretty sure it won an Oscar for its soundtrack, which is pretty huge that a foreign film, especially, a Bollywood or Tollywood film, to win an American, Oscar award. But the soundtrack is good. The dance scene is incredible. It feels kind of out of place compared to how dramatic the rest of the film is, but it's really, really good. All of the little themes that play at like an end of a scene, whether it be the villain or the main character or anything like that, are great. The fight scenes in the film are absolutely incredible. They're shot in such an intense and just wacky way. None of it makes sense, and that the main characters really aren't going to get hurt, but it keeps your attention. It's like the main character has like the strength of a lion, and then the other one has the strength of like 2 lions. It's pretty incredible. Like, you'll see them just get hit with like big concrete pillars or smashed across an entire courtyard or something like that, and they just get back up. They don't really care. They shrug it off. The final fight scene in the film it's shot really well. I absolutely adore that shot. You can see all the bullets flying everywhere. You see all the gunshots going off. But that fight scene is so insane. If you had to show someone the film who didn't care about spoilers, show them that scene to convince them to watch it, because it is incredible. It highlights how insane the film is perfectly when the main character be sending people like flying off, like Ram kicks someone at some point and then shoots him with an arrow before he even hits the ground. Beam, I'm pretty sure, picks up a bike and slams it into a guy, and then he also does like a flip onto a bike, stops a bike with his bare hands. It's pretty insane, it's pretty crazy. But if people do care about spoilers, I would say the scene to show them probably would be the scene, just the opening scene, Ram's introduction, Beam's introduction, because both of those, while one is significantly cooler than the other, they are perfect in showing you the main characters and how badass they are. It's perfect. Moving on to something a bit less intense is the romance subplots in the film, and I like how much they let them tie into the story. Jenny, Beam's love interest, the British woman who lives in the huge palace that he needs to get into. I like the fact that he simultaneously likes her, but he also just wants to get in the palace to save Mali, the daughter of his tribe. And then Ram's subplot, it really doesn't do anything until the very end of the film, but it's not crazy important. Also, Ram's backstory in the film is something which I like. I like the point when they choose to show that. I think personally they show Ram's backstory at the perfect moment, because it's right after he's betrayed Beam. It's right after the big middle point fight scene, the big split in the film, and immediately the audience is thinking to themselves, "Oh, well, I bloody hate this guy. Look at this ass who's just betrayed Beam. For what? So you can get a promotion, and then you find out why he did it, and you're like, that's pretty justified, actually. It's good. It's a decently sad backstory. It also shows that he's like genuinely superhuman. He's had superhuman accuracy since he was merely but a child. Which is it's pretty incredible. I mean, compared to Beam, it's like, what, he fought like a tiger or something and won. Yeah, it's not really, it's not really that impressive, to be honest, but you didn't hear that from me. The main villains in the film are awesome, by the way. They are comically evil, and I love it so much. The female antagonist, whatever her name is, she's the general's wife. She is so comically racist and evil. It is probably any scene with her on screen, you're like, I hate this woman, but I love watching her do whatever evil stuff it is that she's doing. Like when Beam is getting whipped, and she says, "Oh, you're not doing it hard enough. Oh, you know what? You don't use that regular old whip that's tearing the skin from his back. Use this spiked barbed whip with shards of glass and seashells in it. Use that instead." Or when she buys the little girl who gave her the tattoo, it's like, it's a souvenir for the mantelpiece, which is great. And the general, I really like the reoccurring thing with the value of a British bullet. I like that a lot. As with that, it's like, that's the lie. There it is. He said it again. But he's really good. He's really, really good. I love that he is also superhuman. There's no one in this film who isn't like some sort of just insane mutated human. That he has superhuman agility and accuracy, because when his car, he flies out of his car just perfectly. It's kind of floating through the air, and he just grabs his gun in the middle of the air and perfectly aims and shoots at a moving car's tire before it hits the ground, which is just wonderful. And the way he dies at the ending is also really good. I like that it's Beam, who's never shot a gun in his life, and he perfectly hits him in the heart and sprays the blood of the bloody British flag. It's awesome. And moving on to the ending of the film, I do really like the ending. The ending song is really good as well. It's good. it's actually good. And I like all the little ending the ending scenes of Beam reuniting with his tribe and Ram finally giving the guns to his people, and then they're kickstarting the revolution. It's awesome. It brought a tear to my eye. My father did actually cry while he was watching this. So I think he cried 3 times. He cried in the scene where Ram and Beam meet each other. I think he cried when Ram is whipping Beam, and then he cried at the ending. So it's a real manly man's film. It's a tearjerker. If you haven't seen RRR already, fix that. Watch it. So when the film starts,
how brutal does your film have to be if it starts with a warning that says no animals were hurt during this film? Then it lists at least 15 animals, some of which I've never even heard of. Oxes? What's an ox is?
What, do you know what an ox is, man?
No, but what's an ox is?
I don't know. But who cares about that?
Is it plural of an ox?
Who cares with the animals? Screw the animals. Who gives a shit? The film really starts when that first big R appears on the screen.
It's the story.
But actually, before that, isn't there the scene in the village?
That big R appears on the screen.
Yes.
And it then pulls out, and the words of the story arrives, which is your first little part of the first 3 chapters, which open the film.
Yes. So it starts in this peaceful village. You hear a girl singing a beautiful song.
Such a beautiful song.
And it cuts to a woman getting a little tattoo. And it immediately establishes that this woman is comically evil because she says, this will be a nice, I'm sure it's something on the lines of, this will be a nice trophy for the mantelpiece.
I believe that's the exact words.
That's what she says. And then she gives this man 2 coins and he doesn't know what it's for, and he says...
I think you'll find she continues to establish herself as a comic villain. She signals to someone else to give her 2 coins. Yeah. Give a man 2 coins.
And he's like, these must be for the tattoo. And then she takes the child, because the child is the trophy for the mantelpiece. And he's like, wait a minute.
She's just bought a kid.
He's like, wait a minute. And then afterwards, the mother of the kid, she's running after them, trying desperately to get her kid back as they're driving away. She stops the car, and as she's about to be, gunned down, the second comically evil villain appears. And he explains, and this becomes very iconic. I love it.
It's so over the top as well.
He explains how the value of a British bullet, which has travelled from Britain in a British container, is made in a British factory, all the way into this rifle, it has cost the Crown. How much is it? It's like £1.
£1 sterling.
It's cost £1 sterling. And then he says, do not waste it on killing this woman. Find another way. So what he does is he picks up a tree branch, shatters it over her skull, and then they leave. And we get a very, very good shot of the 2 coins in her hand as they're driving away.
That's how you open a film.
5
minutes in, you're hooked.
I remember the first time I saw it, I was watching it on holiday with my family. And my dad had explained to me, like, okay, this film's actually really good, guys. I've cried during it. And then that happened, and I started laughing, and he looked at me with just this look of horror and disgust.
No, you're not on the Empire's side, are you?
No, but it's still really funny.
It's very amusing. That was how you pitched the film to me, to convince me to not watch it, because I've always wanted to watch RRR, but actually prioritise watching it. To the degree you drive me to your household and we watched it and we had a lovely little time.
Yeah, exactly.
But that was the scene you told me everything about just to hook me, and you know what? It works. Which is why we've structured this podcast this way, because that is another little hook. Because now we should probably discuss what RRR is about in a more general vague, because it's about the Empire, and it's about the British Empire in India. Because RRR is an Indian film. I should also throw that in here.
It's also based on a true story, apparently. I think they took, it's not really the story, they took the idea of these 2 freedom fighters who, I guess, managed to succeed in some way, and then they said, okay, but what if we made that really, really cool?
It is the story of 2 freedom fighters. They're based on real people, and it basically asks the question, but what if they met and became best friends?
Exactly.
So it's like a fictionalized reality, I believe is what you would call it, set in the Indian Empire. Oh God, the British Empire.
What year is it set in? It's set in the early 1900s.
1920s.
Yeah.
That was when the British Empire in India was at its peak, I think.
Yeah, pretty much.
This is also a story of 2 men that don't know too much about the history, because India, and India is not something that you typically talk about,
Yeah.
trying to recount things that they have read, heard, or just know over their 18 years of life.
Yeah. Also, arguably just from what I could see in the film, which is sometimes a little bit hard to understand, but it doesn't matter. Because, well, it's an insanely good movie. It also, at some points, it just feels like a ride.
Oh, it's a
And
roller.
you're being dragged through it.
It's a roller coaster that somewhere in the middle broke and started falling completely free, making this journey insane.
Yeah.
So many bad metaphors are to come, and I hope you're ready.
Of course.
Because we've got lots combined. Lots of terrible metaphors. I recently read how RRR got its name.
Mm-hmm.
Now it's called, right, let's read this in the right order. Rise, Roar, Revolt. That's what RRR stands for, but that's not how it got its name.
How did it get its name?
It got its name from the director and the two main leads to the film, being SS Rajamouli, NT Ramaraman Jr. and Ram Charan.
Isn't one of them is an actual actor and the other one isn't really? He's more like is he a musician or something?
I believe they're both very much actors.
Yeah.
The two of the biggest actors in Tollywood, which is why that makes we could discuss my little lack of knowledge of Indian film here.
Mm-hmm.
The Indian film industry is mad.
It's brutal. It's brutal. The Indian film industry.
It's scary. I fear it. This is not a Bollywood film, this is a Tollywood film. What this means I'm not too sure, but I heard it described as like Bollywood, but bigger, madder, more insane. Everything's just bigger and better than Bollywood.
Well, that's the way that they describe it.
That's the way they describe it.
But after seeing RRR...
When I googled it.
After seeing RRR, it's not exactly false.
It's true. It is. Everything I know of what Indian cinema is based on Bollywood, because every Bollywood film is Indian, but not every Indian film is Bollywood. Trying to learn about this across like half an hour was a weird half an hour.
Yeah.
The director SS Rajamouli is very well regarded, very well known, and typically the Indian film industry works on star power, like old Hollywood, where it is you have Marilyn Monroe in your film. Yeah. She plays Marilyn Monroe, and it is about Marilyn Monroe, and all the other actors pale in comparison.
Mm.
Basically, NTR and Ram Charan are both like Marilyn Monroe. They are both faces of film. So to have two in one film is pretty much unheard of.
Yeah.
So I guess that's another one of the many reasons why RRR is so powerful.
Exactly.
But that's why they decided to literally just name the film after the three people involved.
Exactly. And then
they said,
now, hang on a minute, we can make this into something else.
And then they were like, we probably can't just... That was the working title, that's what it was. It was the working title before they had a definitive title, but they just kept the RRR stuff, because, you know, at the end of the day, the film's about the star power.
Yeah.
Here it's about an Indian film becoming really popular in other countries, but in India it was all about the star power.
It's also about, that really applies to the film as well, because, you know, you have the goal of the main characters, which is, who really cares about that? We care about the main characters and
being the most badass humans.
Being so badass, their friendship, their love for one another. That's great.
Yes, I feel like that roughly gives you enough information about RRR to then get on with the story, but not the story, because just after the story and those little coins are in that wee lady's hand, it cuts to the second R on screen for the second chapter, and that second R changes into the word fire.
It does. Even though it's an R, not an F, it changes into the word fire as we meet our first main character.
What an introduction.
This is if the scene of the woman getting hit in the head with a tree branch is what hooked me on the film, then this scene is what inspired me to keep watching, to watch it several more times, and to actually record a podcast on it.
All of which is happening.
Of course.
Mental. I just said a statement that was completely obvious.
Exactly. But in this scene, it's just incredible. It's hard to get started.
I believe it's just outside of Delhi. You've got 3,000 odd extras that were used in this scene. That is a lot of extras. And they are acting as...
a gigantic mob.
mob rioting because of something political. Now, in this kind of barbed cage is an Empire-based police force. You know, they're all in their line, they're all standing with their hats on, their wee sticks, looking forward. And some lad gets a rock and he throws it at a picture of, is it the king?
It's the king.
Throws it at a picture, a framed picture
Of the king.
Which falls to the ground and shatters.
And of course, the commanding officer says, "Arrest that immediately," and points to him. And then the crowd charges at the cage, and everyone falls down.
Every officer
there falls down, except for one.
One man that stays, having not moved, with his stick, his hat, and his moustache.
And then after he hears the command to arrest that man,
he takes off his hat.
He flies through the air, over the fence, plants a shockwave in the middle of the crowd, and starts making his way to arrest that man.
And that's what he does.
He then starts brawling with those 3,000 extras, wins.
Oh yes, he's hitting them with his stick, and he's literally flying forward.
I don't want to describe everything that happens in this scene, because it is a joy to watch it for the first time. He hits me with his stick, he punches people, he throws them, then he arrests the man, brings him back.
Still fighting off 3,000 with
people.
The man.
Then he gets back, throws the man at the feet of the officer who's said to arrest him.
Puts on his hat,
but
gets his cane.
Takes a big gulp of water.
Oh yes, of course, water, conveniently.
Yes.
To put out fire. There's a box that says fire.
Yeah.
And then he goes and brings some water to put out the fire, because he is the fire.
He's fire. And then he gets back in line, stamps his foot, and the shot of him stamping his foot sends the 3,000 man crowd back.
Absolutely amazing. Absolutely amazing.
Yeah.
And do you know what's quite heartbreaking about that?
Mm-hmm.
He didn't even get promoted.
He didn't get promoted from that.
3 other lads got promoted.
Do you know why? Because
they were white and fresh. Yeah, it's a real shame. This really angered him. He really wanted his promotion.
Yeah. Then after that, I'm sure he punches a hole in a punching bag.
Oh, of course. There's this visual of him in a gym room basement. I don't know.
Mm-hmm.
Jacked as hell.
Yeah, he is jacked. That is insane.
Everything. This is a long story about this lad, because this was started filming in 2018.
Mm-hmm.
Then it kept filming, and it finished filming just after lockdown.
Mm-hmm.
He had to stay looking like that for 3 years.
Yeah. Well, I mean, it explains some things. Like, there's quite a lot of time jumps in it. Like, his beard changes frequently.
Oh yes.
Yeah.
There is so many time jumps.
Yeah,
you've just reminded me how many time jumps there are. We then go from this to...
Is it our second main character?
It's a little story. I believe that comes after another R appears on the screen. This time, the word water forms in front of it to make the word water as we enter chapter 3 of this weird sequence.
We get a great shot. I believe it's a camera going over a river, and it flips. I'm looking at a man, and he pours
This is after a really weird monologue.
Yeah,
we get a little story of a couple of British Empire lads basically talking about, he kidnapped that girl, Mally. We soon find out her name is Mally. Cool. And how she's part of a tribe. She's got one hell of a tribe in India, the Gong tribe, and they have a protector. They have a kind of lad that will go out and do all of the violence for them, but they are a very peaceful tribe.
Yes.
Except from when they're wronged.
Exactly.
They basically do the John Wick Baba Yaga speech.
They basically do.
And build this man up as a mythical legend that will not stop at anything to get Mali back.
Exactly.
To which British Empire lad number 5, comedic villain 2, is like, scared of just a random tribe? Absolutely not. Twirls mustache, twirls mustache, twirls mustache. Cut to a river.
Cut to a river. Cut up to another jacked main character who is pouring blood on his head. Now, why is he doing this? We're about to find out as he's sprinting through the woods, and out from the woods comes a wolf. And he keeps running. He is outpacing the wolf.
Of course he's outpacing the wolf.
And then a tiger Voom appears, leaps at him, and he jumps through the air, dodges the tiger, and the tiger will slam into one another, and he keeps running.
He keeps running, but now he's not being chased by a wolf. He's being chased by a tiger.
Exactly, so he can't outrun him for long. But then he gets to a point, and he stands still, and the tiger gets trapped in a net, and he's like, okay, my job here is done. But then the tiger breaks free.
Tiger breaks free.
And then he manages to hold the tiger back with this rope mechanism that they have. He contains the tiger as it slashes across his chest and he roars in its face.
This man literally saw a tiger and started tigering at a tiger.
Now, well, this is very awesome. This is the start of one of the very few issues in the film, or one of the very few issues I have for it, which is one of our main characters is severely cooler than the other.
Cool, yes, but I don't know about more mythic and powerful. I think cool is the word because Ram is, of course, cool. He's a charisma vacuum beam. Lacks the charisma.
Well, of course, yeah, our main characters, by the way, are called... the one who fought the crowd is called Ram.
Of which we wouldn't know at this point anyway.
We wouldn't know at this point. But he is much cooler than Beam, who's the one who fought the tiger. Now, you may disagree with that point, but later on in the film it really starts to shine that Beam gets severely overshadowed by Ram.
Yeah. In coolness. They're both mythical because he just bet a tiger because one of his tribe mates throws down some little powder there. He throws it at the tiger, puts the tiger to sleep. He then hugs the tiger for a while.
Yeah, he hugs the tiger because he's got a tender soul.
Then there's a time jump.
There's a big time jump.
To which we hear blah 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 blah. Beam is now going undercover as Aknar in the city
to try and get Mali back.
To try and find Mali back. They've been hunting for her for, I believe the time frame is 6 months.
Yes.
The British Empire declare that they want to find Beam and have him killed. Now that's when comedic villain number 1, the first one we met, who I believe his name is Cassandra.
Cassandra,
yes, the woman married to Scott, who is General Scott, who is the head villain. She's the kind of secondary wife who is probably more evil.
I'd say she's more sadistically evil, and then he is more just like villain evil.
She states that whoever finds Beam and brings him back to the Empire alive would receive the rank of Special Officer, which is what our boy Ram has been dying for.
So then Ram from the middle of the crowd says, "Do you want him dead or alive?"
Yes.
And she says, "If you bring him alive, you'll be Special Officer, sir. Don't bring him dead."
Bring him dead and you'll get a reward, was it? Something like that.
Yeah, I think to bring him dead, you get like £1,000.
Yeah, get some money. That's some money.
It's still not that much.
But bring him alive. And he gets everything he's ever wanted, to which he then takes this quest. And
of course, you don't know, at this point, you don't know why
he
wants it. You just know he works for the British Empire and he wants to become Special Officer.
And he's just had, traitor hurled at him a little bit, which is deserved.
It's deserved.
He then goes to the 6-month time jump because he's going undercover to hunt down Beam in the city. Now, he has this little poster with a sketch of what they think Beam / Aknar for the next 20 minutes looks like. He takes this little sketch with him. He grows a beard to hide his true identity, which, immediately ditched his amazing signature moustache. But it's fine because when this man is in his Imperial officer and the moustache and has his stick, he's a weapon.
He's a weapon.
But see when he has his beard and just regular day clothes with a couple of suspenders.
He's a god.
He's not just a god. He's like a lovable da. He goes to like a meeting of people that are hunting that are looking for anti-locals.
The locals. It's a meeting of locals and they want to do something about the British occupation. And then he, to try and get on the good side, suggests, why don't we just kill the general? And they all laugh at him.
Kill Governor Scott.
And then from the crowd, conveniently, Beam's brother appears. And he's like, is this really what you want to do? I think we could use you We've been wronged by them. They've taken someone from us. Could you help us? And he's like, well, of course, my friend. Just take me to your people. And then, they're walking along.
Specifically, your brother.
Yeah. And then his cover gets blown, unfortunately, and he chases the brother. But he gets a good look at his face.
He does get
He remembers what the brother looks like.
He then finds himself on a bridge.
Well, but before that...
Is there a before?
I think it's kind of... I don't know if it goes back and forth. These scenes happen at the same time. But before that, we see Beam.
Oh no, not Beam getting better.
He's working in an auto repair shop, and we get comically evil villain number 3.
This lad is just called Robert.
He's really funny. He is not in the film a lot, but you hate him a lot. He shows up, and he's like, well, you I'm sure he calls him dirty or something. He calls him like a monkey, probably.
Highly racist.
Insanely racist. He's like, oh, you fixed my bike, you did something to it, it's not working. And then Beam's like,
a lady laughs and he's embarrassed.
A lady laughs at him, Beam's like, oh yeah, you just didn't do it properly, jackass. And he starts the bike
whipping
easily.
him. He just starts whipping him in, doesn't he?
And then the guy gets up, he just starts beating the out of Beam. Poor Beam, they're like, please don't hurt him.
Generic Woman 5 comes over and is like,
stop, no. And then
Beam falls in love.
And Beam falls in love. And then after that, they say to Beam, they're like, Beam, why do you keep your anger deep down? And then that's foreshadowing for later on.
He sees a lady in the distance in a car.
He sees a lady.
And he falls immediately in love.
I think it really is the only not comically evil British person in the whole film.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He looks at her. He's in love.
He's in love.
That might be relevant later. She's entering a giant palace.
A giant palace, and he says, whoa, this sure is something.
And then Ram's on a bridge.
Beam is on the shore. Ram is like, I need to find that guy.
They're close to each other.
We get an amazing shot. Jenny, it's a very good shot of the shadow of the bridge being cast on a little boy on a little raft that has just been sent out to catch some fish for Beam. Beam says, I fancy a wee fish supper, send this boy out there, get me some fish.
He's after his chippy.
Exactly. And a train is passing overhead. We hear the train hauling oil.
Oh yes.
And a malfunction happens, and the train falls into the water, a ring of fire surrounding the boy, he can't leave. And this is when we get the part that made my father cry.
It's so good.
We have Ram.
Who looks and thinks, I could save the boy.
I could save the boy, but I need help. And he looks and he sees Beam on the shoreline.
Wearing all white, like a little god and angel.
And he's saying the people around him, he says, we need to save the boy, help me save the boy. And then Ram, he raises his fist. He raises his fist to Beam, and Beam raises his fist. And then they bring their fists to their chests. And they both immediately know what to do. So Ram gets a horse, Beam gets a motorbike. They're going towards her on the bridge. They get a rope and they dangle. They both jump off the bridge.
Some more hand signals ensue.
There's some more hand signals. Not a single word is exchanged.
Of course not.
They just know. They connect.
Beam at some point picks up the original Indian flag.
Yes.
Always nice.
Yes.
And then they do the thing.
They both swoop down. They grab the child. They save him.
They grab the child. They throw the child. Beam grabs the child, throws it to Ram. Ram with the flag, flames. Throws it to Beam. Beam uses the flag, which he soaks, so it's now fireproof, to whip through the fire as Ram literally throws that child 50 feet onto the shore. The poor little child just gets thrown.
The poor little child gets chucked, you know.
They then link hands.
They link hands.
In the most pure fire-water metaphor ever. You've literally got the fire Ram, the water Beam, as they meet.
You have the fire on top of the water.
It's so on the nose, it's so on the shore, it's so beautiful. Fire. It's so beautiful, it's so well done, because they told them that was a bad idea, and they said, no it isn't, it's the best idea. Did they really tell them it was a bad idea? They said, that's over the top. I'm talking about critics. They said, that's over the top, and they said, yeah, fight us. Everything's so over the top. Everything's so
critics can shove it because RRR is
I love it.
Awesome, man.
I think critics do quite like RRR.
Probably.
They're so inconsistent. It's
Didn't it
complaining
win an
about
Oscar?
it. Did for music. Non-surprising.
Yeah.
It won it for its music. Right, they go from this amazing firewater sequence to them both dropping down and running towards each other
Yes.
underwater, and it then cuts to your title card, which appears 40 minutes in.
Bold.
Cheeky. Flashy. Gallus.
Yes.
RRR, because the story has met the fire, and the fire has met the water, and the fire and the water are the story. RRR. Rise, roar, revolt.
Yes.
Enjoy. You then get a little victory sequence where they climb some people,
He claims people.
and you get a best friend montage,
Yes.
because they are best friends. The
Yes.
purest friendship.
Yes.
And it's amazing.
It's gorgeous.
They ride bikes on beaches.
They race a horse and a bike, and they're evenly matched.
They ride down a pier that just never ends,
Yeah.
and it just keeps going, and it's so lovely. They stand on each other's shoulders as they go hiking.
Yes.
Oh,
They do pull-ups together.
they're so sweet.
It's so sweet. It's so awesome.
They're so sweet.
But it also has in this montage what I believe is the most expensive shot in Indian cinema.
And what a pointless.
Yeah.
It doesn't serve the story, but it's cool.
It's really, really cool. It's a gigantic tower of people, and then our two main characters climb this tower of people and get like a ribbon,
Oh, they get well done.
a little pot or something.
Yes, they are now best friends.
Yeah.
They are not just best friends. They are
They
the
are brothers.
bestest. They are brothers. They
They're
say
brothers.
that many times, but they are also the bestest friends. It is the purest friendship on screen ever. They will
Exactly.
never fall out.
They
Ever.
never will. Well, I mean,
No.
unless they do.
They will never fall out.
Of course.
Because even then, they didn't fall out. They will never fall out. They are now linked. Or by something that I don't know, I can only describe as holy and godly.
Yes.
Because, well, I suppose these are two gods
Yeah.
cutting about
These are
humans.
They are gods among men. Compared to
really
our
are.
normal men, they are like 10 men and a lion. They are insane.
He said the thing. To skip over some stuff, because otherwise we'll be here all day, watch the film.
Yes.
Beam falls in love with a lady. Ram basically, helps him with this lady who is called Jenny, who is our nice British character.
And then during their interaction, he finds out that Jenny's gigantic palace is where Mali is
it
being
is
kept.
the Empire's Governor
So,
Scott's palace.
If he gets in
Okay.
there, it's a win-win. He's in
Exactly.
Jenny's house and he can save his tribe's little sister.
They find this out at the market where Jenny invites Beam to a party. Beam gets
party.
back to Ram in their place. Ram is like, so, how did it go? Are you married? And then he teases her, girlfriend,
Yeah.
lover, lady friend. He basically lists off all these things. Beam, highly embarrassed, shakes his head a little bit.
I love when he does it. He does a little head wobble.
He's got a little nervous twitch.
Yeah.
And it's adorable, because Beam is adorable and
Yes.
Ram is a manly man.
He's a manly
But Beam
man.
is adorable. He also fights tigers if he wanted to.
He does, yeah.
But not because he hates tigers. No, he loves tigers.
Those
Really,
things.
head-to-head moments with tigers. Ram reads this letter and finds out that the party is tonight because Beam doesn't really know
Oh no,
English.
it's not tonight. It's today. It's
That's true.
right now.
Beam doesn't really know English, which serves a bit of an
Yeah.
issue for him and Jenny's relationship. Whereas Ram acts as the kind of
The
language
translator.
barrier, of
It's
which
very funny.
he never translates purely because he just wants the best for his boy Beam.
Yeah.
He is like, the party today, let us get changed. They have a bit of a dress up.
Mhm.
They dress up and they arrive at what must be the weirdest party ever. They have a full-on entrance.
Yeah, they have like high school bullies there who are
Yeah.
like, oh, what the hell?
They might be my least favourite ones of the English
I
villains because
think-
they're the most I want to punch of the English villains.
I think, to be honest, they're like probably my it's not like I agree with you. My least favourite, but it's not like I dislike them.
I would like to refer to the man in the green jacket as Tobin.
Mhm.
I don't know his name, which is why I'm choosing Tobin, because it sounds Tory in it. We're just going to call him Tory. You know what? I think that's the best way to do this. We're just going to call him Tory.
Tory.
Yes.
I think it's a little bit political. Man.
This film is quite political.
It is actually.
This sequence features Tory explaining how he can dance, but these two lads
He
cannot
explains.
dance.
It's really funny. He literally shoves Beam through his like they cannot. These monkeys cannot dance. Can they do flamenco? And he
does the
starts
flamenco.
dancing. And then Ram.
Oh, a plate has been spinning, a little metal sheet has been spinning, and right after he says, "Do you know any dances?" Ram kicks that plate up. It lands on the drum kit, of which he has taken over from the black drummer.
Yeah.
The black drummer of which was very upset with the racist British white man.
Also, isn't it, this part's kind of confusing, aren't Indians very, very racist towards black people? Isn't that just kind of stereotype, or is that just true?
Didn't know that.
I think so. I remember when we were watching, my brother saw this and he started laughing, and he explained that to me. He explained that apparently Indians can discriminate quite heavily against black people.
Not Ram.
Not Ram, of course, because
Ram then
he's
just
a god.
goes to town on the drum,
Who's
and
doing the
immediately
drums?
Beam knows what's happening. He looks
He
at him,
knows what's happening.
he smiles. Ram just plays the drums, making an absolute racket, gets everyone's attention for a while. The black drummer is just smiling.
Yeah.
in awe.
And then Ram teleports next to
Yes.
Beam. The black drummer.
No, he throws them up into the air.
He's up
The
into the
black guy catches them in continuous form as
Yeah.
he literally walks through the crowd. The crowd's part. To
Like
let
the
this
Red
man-
Sea.
To let this man make one of the most badass entrances in cinema. He walks up, rocks behind Beam, puts one shoulder on him and goes, "Do you know Dizzy Nash?" And then cut to the song.
And then they start dancing, and this is what like makes it a truly, Tollywood, Bollywood, whatever film, because this dance scene is incredible. It's going
Which just translates to dance.
it just translates to dance, crazy dance,
Crazy dance.
and then they're dancing, and they're boogieing, and then
Teleporting.
they teleport all over the place.
Basically, Beam and Ram are doing everything in sync.
doing everything in sync.
And it looks amazing. This is
Of course.
shot so well.
It's shot insanely well. It's choreographed insanely
It's so well choreographed. It's very, very, very catchy. As you've got Tory just sitting, cutting about, being like, "Oh, this is disgusting. This is filthy. This." And the women are like,
just
"No,
yeah, but
it's not. It's rebellious, and we like it because we're woman."
It's
Whoa! And then they
awesome.
grab
Yeah.
them by their
Censor that part.
suspenders.
Censor that part where I was singing. I don't want that left in. Censor that. But just put a giant bleep over that when I was singing.
Never. It's
It's beautiful. Then they dance. Of course, the last two, like, because
They have a dance. It turns into a fight scene.
It's a dance of endurance.
Yes,
They're dancing to see for who can dance for the longest.
it comes down to three: Ram, Tory, and Aknar Beam. And then Tory falls
Very easily.
Well, quite easy because he doesn't know Dizzy Natch. Ram and Beam then turn on each other. They face each other and they start tearing it up for about a minute
And
straight.
then all of the women are cheering for Ram,
Because
apart
he's
from
the hot guy.
Jenny, the love
No,
interest.
Jenny is
that-
written for the cute little Aknar, and she, I believe, just sits in the background and goes, "No, come on, Aknar," and she claps twice,
Yeah.
something like that. Beam sees Ram sees Jenny, sees Beam, sees Jenny, sees Beam, and decides, "I could last a whole lot longer,
But I'm not gonna. I need to have
but I'm going to give it to you." And he falls to the ground, clutches his knee as Beam celebrates his victory, and then passes out and gets Cookie back home.
Yeah.
Now this scene was shot in Ukraine.
What?
It was
Really?
shot in Kiev 3 months before Russia invaded.
What?
And it was shot at President Zelensky's, the president of Ukraine's palace.
That's awesome.
It was
What?
shot
Just
there
like,
over 3 days.
and so are the scenes in the palace shot in his palace? No.
Not just the
Just this one.
exterior,
The
the
exterior.
Parliament's envision, and I believe there was a Parliament meeting on one of the days as they're blaring that show as the Parliament. Yeah, it was shot there, and there was apparently a lot of military, not surprisingly, because the fear of the invasion was still there, and they kind of gaslit Ram Charan into thinking that it was for them, but no, it was actually for the safety of everyone in the country.
Yeah.
But it's a fascinating piece of history that they shot that at the palace of President Zelensky, and he was like, "Yeah, just do it,
Yeah.
do it," because their original film location in India fell through, and they had to scramble it last minute, and somehow last minute source there.
I like how it goes from like, okay, so wherever it was in India, pulled out their last minute stores was the president of Ukraine.
It happens.
Yeah.
Aye, and all of the, obviously the extras in the background, the females and men, they were all dancers as well.
Yes.
And they did really well, the old acting, you know.
Yes.
Because in every shot, the men are watching on these two dance disgusted, and the women are like, oh, but it's rebellious dancing. It's like, we're all
Yeah.
British.
It's crazy dancing.
It's crazy dance.
Yes.
Anyway, she drives, basically, Beam is being cokey bagged by
Yeah.
Ram, and he's like, I just felt the need to compete with you. And he was like, you've knocked yourself out, well done, son. But who's driving along in our car that's going very, very slow? Jenny, because Jenny
Yes.
drives. Jenny then says that she'll take...
Which,
Beam
it's
right.
very unrealistic that she
I know,
drives.
woman. Jenny then says that she will take Beam home, but first, to her home.
Yes.
So Beam is like, I come to your home. But Beam spends quite a while just basically being really weird, but not just constantly saying the only English words he knows, which is I go to your home. And it's just strange. They go for a cup of tea. They arrive, and we meet Robert again, who immediately tells Beam to use the back door.
Who was, the man who beat Beam earlier.
Yes, he's here for this scene. Jenny's like, no, he's my guest. They go through, they sit, and Beam just hears, echoing from about 15 rooms away in this giant palace, a song.
From Mali. And he goes, Mali!
He then tells Jenny, I am hungry. Jenny then says, I will go and get you some food. So Jenny could have used any of the servants here, but no, Jenny, being the only respectable British person in the film, goes to get the food herself. Beam then runs and goes to find Mali, but Robert is suspicious and is tracing him. He's tracking him.
He's tracking him down.
Eventually, Beam Aknar comes face to face with Mali, who's in a wee prisony bit, and they hold each other for a while, and Beam is like, I will come back for you, Mali. But for now, Mali screams a lot. He evades Robert narrowly, and he begins to plot his plan. They have to go tonight because Governor Scott is returning and coming there, and they're having a grand party. Cassandra's throwing a grand party for her husband, Governor Scott. Meanwhile, Ram identifies paint on the back of the car, identifies paint from the auto shop, identifies that he can now track the brother of Beam, the guy that he was with earlier.
He basically, he becomes a detective. He tracks
detective.
down Beam's brother, the man which he had seen earlier. And then he eventually catches him, and he brings him to a room where he ties him up and tortures him to try and find out where Beam is.
Yes.
But he doesn't know that Beam's the one he's looking for yet, so it makes it all the more tragic.
Exactly. The man that he has captured and grabs a snake.
Yes.
Throws the snake, it bites poor old Ram, and
then the man says to him, he says, that venom is uncurable. You have about 1 day to live.
It was an hour.
An hour?
It was an hour.
An hour?
An hour to live. So Ram, who just sits down, looks at the ground, and almost has an entirely personality change, gets up, cuts some of the ropes loose and says, you'll be free in about 24 hours. Go, live your life. He then dies. He then crawls onto the street and crawls. Beam, meanwhile, is at the other side of the street, just passing, doesn't see him crawling, and he
starts playing.
He talks a little bit, and he's like, we have to do it tonight, family. Let us do it. And then he hears in the distance.
He hears the smacking of a bowl, and he says, wait a minute. He recognises that beat, so he comes around to see Ram lying there dying, and he runs over. He says, oh my God, what has happened to you? Go, bring me these ingredients so I can cure the poison. I recognise a snake bite. And then he takes off this
holy bead.
This holy rope. This holy rope that he has.
He says that Ram needs it more. He puts it around Ram, and Ram, who had recognised that on the neck of the man he captured, suddenly puts two. He gets
a little bit confused at what's going on here, and then Beam explains to him. He
literally just sits on the bed and says, "I've lied to you. I am not Aknar. I'm Beam. Tonight we do a thing to capture a girl from the British who have wronged us.
Yes.
But you must stay here and rest. I have wanted to tell you this forever, but we need to watch who we trust."
Yes.
Cut to Governor Scott's meeting.
Yes.
It's all lovely and all that jazz.
So great.
It's really nice aesthetically, lights everywhere, really nice looking building. And what are you? Behind the military. That's not the military came in. What's that?
It's a truck. Sorry, no, it's not the military came in. It's a truck slams through the door. And then on top of this truck is Beam. And he leaps from it with 2 torches. And from the truck leaps several animals, too many. And that's why we find out why he was capturing the tiger at the beginning of the film.
His army.
His
He uses the fire on the end of the torches to control them and basically just lays siege to the house.
They're doing battle. He finds Jenny amongst the crowd.
Puts her in a car.
Keeps her there safely. They don't say a word, but they understand.
Exactly.
On the side,
you just get to watch animals beating up British folk for a while, but it comes down to the face-off. Robert
shows up again.
Aknar and Beam starts whipping him at one point and get revenge from earlier on.
Demolishes him. I'm pretty sure he breaks his arm.
His arm gets stuck in like a deer's horns.
Yeah, his arm gets stuck in a deer's horns, gets shredded.
At this point, it's looking like Beam is standing tall. He takes the key from Robert when all of a sudden he hears the words, Aknar, echo from the... Yeah. It genuinely echoes through the entire building.
As a freshly shaven... And
he's now got his moustache, military gear, and his stick.
Looking
clean. Riding with horses a carriage that is on fire. Because he is the fire. He then catapults it, just leaps off, lands, and continues walking in one motion as this thing launches itself at Beam.
And he walks up to Beam and he says, Beam, you're under arrest.
He just tries to arrest him.
And then Beam he's so confused, he's saying, no, this can't be true, why would you do this? And then he's not fighting him at all. He's just taking it. But then Ram, he makes a mistake. He pushes Beam, and Beam drops the keys to where Mally is being held down a drain. And then he starts to attack. He's beating the out of Ram, and then they start fighting.
It's such a good, it's so brutal. The punches are so hard.
It's really sad.
Yes, it's really sad. At one part, they perform a chain wrestling sequence of literal, just straight professional wrestling submission UFC style moves.
That's great.
Until, oh no, Beam is thrown into the waterfall, which leads to all the water pipes going mad, and Ram is thrown with a torch into a box full of fireworks. He knocks over a torch, which is on a thing. It falls onto all these fireworks, which gives us the insane shot of Beam the water with all of these hoses from the pipes flaring water everywhere as he is standing, holding one of them, 2 of them, waterfall going everywhere because it's all broken.
I'm pretty sure around here, it plays that song from earlier about how this friendship end in tragedy.
It's a wee bit later on and it's a lot slowed down. Yeah. It's very good and it's a very good callback and it's well done. You've got Ram on the other side who has all these fireworks going mad, flame torch. They then run at each other. They
clash.
They clash. Then Ram gets up, sees a tiger's charging at him, puts on the thing holding the fire that caused all of these, runs and just throws himself in Chaos Superman style, punches a tiger, lands, takes it off, and sees that Beam has vanished.
This is going back to earlier when I talked about how Ram is a lot cooler, potentially more powerful than Beam, because Beam was able to outstrength a tiger, right? He's able to hold a tiger back using his raw strength. But Ram just punched a tiger with a flaming fist and stopped it dead in his tracks.
Ram then looks around for Beam to see him climbing up the building. He then chases him. They find themselves on the edge of this building right as Governor Scott arrives.
They find themselves at this point where it is, though they are brothers, this is the definitive point where their goals are clashing. This is the emotional bit.
This is the first bit was the fight between 2 men that you'd actually wanted to see fight because they're so powerful.
Yeah.
It was more, wow, this is really cool. Look how powerful these guys are. But now it's emotional
because it's
the fire and water antics have gone. It's now just the 2 men with their goals to capture Beam. He's right there to save Mally. She's right there. Governor Scott at one point then pulls out a gun, aims it at Mally.
Yeah. It's not as, from the character's point of view, it's not as emotional for Beam because he is, I need to save Mally. He is stopping me. For Ram, it's, I need to capture Beam, but I want to let him save his sister, but I can't.
But he is also my best friend. I do not
He's
want
my
to capture
brother.
him.
I do not want to capture him. I want to see him succeed, but
Whereas
I
Bean
need
doesn't
to.
know that he,
Yeah.
like, that he just feels so inherently betrayed.
Yes.
But he's got to save Mally. They've both got to throw up their malls. He goes and just runs. He tries to throw himself after they smash a literal bit of what would you call it? The wall off them, the ceramic wall off each other and all that jazz, because it just detonates. He dives off, and Ram literally pulls out the holy braid, throws it, whips him round, drags him, and they are now connected by this holy rope of beams. As he then just says, "No, give up." He pulls him up a little bit as Beam realises that if he doesn't, Governor Scott is going to shoot Mally.
Right, with the, I like how isn't he? He's holding the gun with one hand.
Yes.
Is it a rifle or a pistol?
He's not even looking at Mally. It's a long rifle.
It's a long rifle with one hand directly at Mally.
Then a bunch more military out of the Empire come up and they point their guns at Beam, who just decides, "Fine, I accept temperamental
And then we
defeat."
get a shot,
the best shot,
of blood trickling down Ram's face. It goes into his eye, unblinking. The blood trickles from his eye in a single blood teardrop onto Ram's hand. And then this is a changing
transitions into another fire, another water version of the hands holding the rope for a little intermission.
Intermission. You haven't seen Hocus Pocus, have you?
I have not seen Hocus Pocus.
No, it's very good. We'll do a Halloween podcast on it.
There's a little teaser for you coming soon. Hocus Pocus podcast.
Yeah, actually, that is pretty soon. Jesus. Well, I got a Hocus Pocus Lego set.
Amazing.
For my birthday, and it's huge, big house. It's got all the like props from the film. It's got like little candles. It's got 3 Sanderson sisters. It's got like the graves of the dead child in the film, stuff like that. And I remember I was thinking of the film, and I thought of a time when I was talking to someone about the Sanderson sisters, who was the main antagonists, the 3 witches in the film. I'll pull up a picture for you, Ryan.
This is revolutionary.
Because you haven't seen it yet, but one of them is definitely not like the other. One of
these
is very different in appearance from the other two, as you can see.
Yeah.
And I had said to someone, I could fix the blonde one. And in Hocus Pocus, the way that the Sanderson sisters, these 3 witches, are summoned is if a virgin lights this magical candle on Halloween, then they're reawakened, they come back to life. And I'd said, well, when Halloween rolls around, you already know what I'm going to do. You already know that candle's going to get lit.
So see this wee pen drive?
Yeah, the audience can't see.
It's got bumps in it. What? Like, it's been through the walls. Just admire it.
Did you nibble on this or something?
Why has it been nibbled?
It's your pen drive.
It's not.
What is it? Is this from uni or something?
I sourced this from Gallus Podcast host Josh White. Do you think his dog Alfie
yes, definitely.
went to town on the pen drive?
Definitely Josh White's dog did this. Definitely.
So if you were to play with this and then tan your dinner, you'd probably eat dog.
Yes. I mean, I'd try dog. I was talking to an American one time, and then obviously I was like, I was like, so how old are you? And he's like, oh, I'm in I think he said 10th grade, something like that. And I was like, okay,
that's not an age.
And then I said, okay, so how old is it? Yeah, I'm in the 10th grade. I'm like, yeah, so what age are you? And he's like, yeah, I'm in I'm in the 10th grade. I'm like, yeah, however old he said he was. And I was like, are you stupid?
So what is that you're drinking? Pure brew.
No, it's power brew. So it's alright, I guess. It's really cheap.
Diablo.
Diablo's
such a
so this is the I'm currently drinking. It's the new Iron Brew brand energy drink. flavoured Diablo cherry. It doesn't taste like Iron Brew, it just tastes like a slightly sour cherry energy drink. It's alright, it's very cheap. I prefer Red Bull.
Out of 10?
I give it like a 6.
Special Officer Ram. He now has the role of Special Officer. Beam has been captured.
Yes.
Ram is able to do everything he could ever want, which is when you are met with the twist, is what we're going to call it, which is his backstory.
His backstory is that he's a good guy.
He's an honest Indian.
Yeah. I don't know why you say it like that, but he's a good man. We find his backstory as he sits in a room full of guns, and he looks at one, and it flashes back to when he was a child.
Little nipper.
Is this?
This is
No,
this is a little bit out of order, but it's an easy order to get this in the most succinct way because a lot happens in the next hour and a half.
Yes.
So we're just going to give you the kind of 5 main bits and then slightly why they're tied together. There's a lot of more like little bits about what happens here, but the main next plot point is the flashback to his backstory. His
backstory, which is he is a child raised in a village, which basically it's a village of combat. They're all
trainee revolutionaries,
all trained in the way of the rifle.
Yes.
They've never seen a real one. They've never used a real one. They have one real rifle, and as they're standing there, he asks his father. You see Ram's father. Why can we not shoot? And we get another scene of the value of a British bullet.
Yes.
Where it's a flashback within a flashback to his father, who was a soldier in the British Army. And then he's saying how when he was a soldier, he saw a man about to be executed. And then Governor Scott appears, and he says, this bullet that you're about to shoot this man with, it has travelled all the way from Britain, made in a British factory with British materials, transported on a British ship all the way here into the barrel of your gun, and it has cost the crown. I think it's something less. It's a flashback. It's like 50 pence.
Yeah, something like that.
70 pence, like a few, like
whatever the
equivalent. I think it's cost the crown like a shilling or something like
1
that.
shilling, yeah.
1 shilling. Find another way. And then this man, he puts in his gun, he grabs a hammer, and he hammers the man to death. He doesn't hit him in the head, though. He just starts beating him in, like, his chest and his back.
It's brutal. That's what the film is.
It's brutal. It's really awesome, though.
It's awesome.
This is what inspired Ram's father to leave the British Army. Is there a third time they explain the value of a British bullet? I feel like it happens 3 times.
Later on.
And then after this, we get more of Ram training. We see that as a child, he's insanely accurate with a gun.
He did a cool shot.
He has superhuman accuracy.
He stole the real gun did a shot.
He steals the real
gun.
Dad
Dad was angry. His cousin, who would later go on to be his girlfriend, Sita.
I don't think it's his cousin. I think it's like a childhood friend.
This is important because I've said this many times, and if I'm wrong, I want to be proved wrong. So please continue explaining whilst I fact check this.
He shoots this little target with his gun, and then his father says, "What, you shot it from this rock, which is maybe like 12 feet away?" And he's like, "No, he shot it from over there." And she points to a tree which is like 300 feet away. He shot this target from there and got a perfect bullseye. And they go back to the village, and we're like, okay, he's ready. But then the British attack. They attack the village. Ram's mother, I think Ram's brother or other childhood friend gets shot, killed, and then his father has a last stand where he's shooting his gun with immense accuracy, killing the British. But he gets shot and he can't hold out for much longer, so he straps himself full of dynamite and he tells Ram to take the shot. As Ram is in a building, onlooking his father be arrested by the British, strapped full of dynamite, his father shouts out, "Ready, aim, fire," and Ram shoots him, killing his own father for the safety of the village.
What a tragic backstory.
Tragic backstory, because now it's very well done. It's a very good point, because at this point you're like,
you've just went from hating the man.
You've went from like, how could he do this bastard, and now you're like, oh, hang on a minute.
Yeah.
He's sympathetic, and it makes it all the more tragic over the conflict of Ram and Beam.
You find out that Ram wanted to get the rank of special officer, the thing he's been fighting for,
Yes.
because when you're special officer, you're in charge of the gun shipments, which
Exactly.
means he could take the gun shipments and give it to the villagers. He would arm everyone in the village,
Because
as he promised to do, because he
that was
promised
his
the village when he left that he would go away, join the Empire, get a gun in every single one of their hands, and then take
Exactly.
it to the Empire.
He took it to the man. And then in the next scene, a very sad, very brutal, but a very beautiful scene
It
where Ram is forced to whip Beam
Yes, Beam's
Until
public
Beam-
flogging.
until Beam falls to his
Until
knees,
Beam falls
but he
to his knees.
refuses to fall.
Yes, he's strung up. He's got the he's chained up. You know,
Yes.
Ram's nailing him with the whip. Just really sad because he has to hit Beam. There's crowds forming around, watching as Governor Scott and Cassandra sit up in their little
and then
bay.
and Cassandra, because she's so comically sadistic,
Don't use that one.
she says, "Don't use that one," to the normal whip, and she hands him a barbed whip with like shards of like seashell and glass.
To which
on
she
it.
just carries with her.
She just has that around.
She throws it dramatically. Ram catches it, and just before he goes to hit Beam, she says, "Use it on the wooden pole first to show what it does."
And it eviscerates the
It
wooden pole.
destroys the
Does
thing.
he hit Beam with it at all?
Oh yes.
He does, yeah.
He goes to town on Beam, and every time it wraps round his body, and then he rips it off, ripping the blood, the flesh from Beam, which leads to Beam still refusing to fall to his knees. He's losing his body. He falls kind of, but his knees at no point touch the floor, as he is limp, but his knees aren't on the floor. Ram keeps going, and Beam looks down, raises his head,
And starts
and
singing.
responds with a song. A song that is so moving and
It
so
motivates the
captivating, it leads to the crowd rioting.
Mm-hmm.
The crowd proceed to riot, and so the flogging is over.
So flogging is over before it gets too bad.
Before it gets too bad.
And then Ram. What happens after this?
Ram begins his gun plot,
He's going
where
to
he starts disabling a bunch of guns, doesn't he?
Mm-hmm. And then he gets. No, it's before that. It's he has a little realization within himself. He realizes he could sacrifice everything he's worked for all these years, but it's worth it if he can save Beam, because Beam is
Is
going
being
to get
executed.
executed.
Yes.
So he puts a key in the. He gets one of his friends to put a key in the truck that Beam is being transported in. It falls into Beam's hands. He can unlock himself.
Yes, Beam is going to be executed, and Ram is in charge of the guns for that day.
Yes.
He then makes sure all of the guns are unable to fire.
Make sure all the guns are unable to fire.
He, at this point, is doing what he does the best. They go for this execution. The plot is revealed. Beam does not know a thing, however.
Beam doesn't know that he's being saved by Ram.
Exactly. Governor Scott's driving his car.
Yes,
Ram's
they're going
driving his
along,
car.
and then boom. Beam is sitting there, about to be hanged, and the cars
Oh yes,
are
but
coming.
also because comedic villains, they are going to do it in front of Mali.
Yeah, they're purposefully bringing Mali, and then he's like, okay, I'll take Mali in my car.
Yes.
And then, as Ram is driving along, all the cars behind him, he speeds ahead. Governor was like, wait a minute, what is he doing? Then he hits a little rope or something, a tree falls over on Governor Scott's car.
Which
Governor Scott.
launches Governor Scott's car.
Governor Scott, he's a little bit of a god himself. He flies through the air in slow motion, catches his gun, aims, shoots the tyre, on Ram's car, saying the car constantly flipping through the
Yes.
air.
I think you'll find that he's not a god, but he's in fact Satan.
He's saying,
And they didn't just say he's kind of evil. He's the most evil character.
Yes.
He is the most satanic character, just
Yes.
like Beam and Ram are the most godly.
there's also something else about this film is
It's so
it
grand.
has a lot of slow motion shots in it,
Yes.
but none of them are like bad.
No, it's
They're
all
actually,
so
like,
well.
They're pretty good.
And it's all done for the right things in the right time, and it adds to how grand the film feels.
Yeah.
All of the shot, it's usually shot in wide shots,
Mhm.
which is very uncommon, but it's
But they pull off.
you can always see so many characters in the background at all times. It's absolutely phenomenal. Ram then runs, does his thing.
I think I might watch it again today.
I mean, yeah,
No, before Ram starts running, he gets injured. He gets
Yes.
impaled on a tree branch. It was the kind of thing where my mum saw it. She
Oh,
went,
God, yeah. Yeah, he
my
got
mum
thrown
saw
into
it.
the
She
tree.
gasped.
Yeah. The army then, he kind of are like, RRR, and they start pulling out the guns, they start not being able to shoot them as,
They're trying to shoot Mali,
yes,
but they
because that's
can't
important.
because the guns don't work.
Beam
And
is
then
therefore
slowly,
able to destroy everyone.
but slowly, like the Predator, as Mali's running through the woods, being pursued by the men whose guns aren't working, is what Ram did. Ram is picking them off one by
yes,
one.
he is. In like really over the top ways
Yes.
as well.
Uh,
Love it.
And then, they're going along, they're running. Beam is fighting as well. He managed to get free. And then he sees Mali coming through the tree line, chased by Ram, is what it
Ram.
looks like. And then
Not again.
there's a man there who is cocking his gun, and it doesn't work. But he knows how the gun works because he's fixing it. And does he shoot Ram?
I believe in the foot or something, yeah.
I think he shoots Ram in the foot or something like that. It's either shoots Ram in the foot or he's the man behind Beam, because there's a part where a man is about to shoot Beam and Ram draws his pistol, aims it, shoots over Beam's shoulder and hits the man, but Beam doesn't know the man was there.
Yes.
All he saw was that Ram missed him.
Which leads to another short fight between Ram and Beam, but Ram's pretty wounded at this
Yeah,
point. He's pretty
it's
bit
pretty
up.
one-sided,
Beam
and then
dominates him.
Beam
and it
stabs the ground
impales
off
the
camera.
ground beside him.
He stabs next to his face.
Lets him live. He and Mali run off.
And then
Ram
has to fight the people to defend Beam. He risks his life to continue to fight so that Beam can get away.
However, he can't do it forever,
He can't do it for him.
and he is captured.
He's captured.
And he's put in a place for a bit. There's then another quite hefty time jump.
I think it's meant to be about 3 months.
Yeah, we'll say there's a 3-month time jump. It might not be right, but we'll go for 3 months.
His 3 months is he's grown quite long hair. He's grown a big bushy beard, but Beam and Mali still haven't gotten home yet.
Aye,
They're
there's-
halfway there.
There's two kind of now side quests
Mhm.
for a while. You've got Beam and Mali and Beam's surrounded family attempting to go home, but also having to flee because the entire Empire are on the hunt for them.
Yes.
Whilst Ram is now in Imperial prison,
Yes.
hung, and he's just doing pull-ups.
He's just caught doing pull-ups.
Governor Scott
Uh,
comes to visit him, isn't it?
Governor Scott goes to visit him, and then they're like, okay, we can't break his spirit. So they break his legs and throw him in a hole, but he keeps doing
He still does pull-ups. He's in this hole. That'll be relevant in a while. We now cut back to Beam, who is just, he's kind of out, doing his thing there. Trying to hide.
And then as they're
places.
hiding,
They
they're
find
almost
themselves in
discovered.
this kind of shelter.
They're almost discovered in this shelter, but a woman steps up and saves them. A woman says, those people over there have is it cholera? She
Smallpox.
says smallpox. So the British leave, and then Beam is like, who has smallpox? And she says, oh, no one. I made it up. You're
And
safe.
This lady isn't just any lady. She's a very special little lady,
She's Ram's girlfriend.
who apparently has no blood relation to Ram,
Yes.
but
So what? You looked up and found that?
yes,
Yes.
but she still calls his father uncle.
Like close friend, probably.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So there's no direct blood relation,
Yes.
but it's an easy mistake to make,
Yes.
and also it wouldn't surprise me. Anyway,
Yeah, and then she tells a story. She tells Ram's story.
she
to
tells
Beam.
Ram's story, which leads to Beam just
Beam,
no hesitation. I must save him.
Beam breaks down. He says, how foolish I have been. I betrayed my brother when he tried to save me. I will save him.
I feel like Beam has all of the incredibly emotional overacting
There's
scenes.
there's 2 or 3 consecutive big realization moments, because he realizes that she is the girlfriend that Ram spoke about, and she realizes that he is the best friend that Ram spoke
It's
about.
the other wrote about on his letters that he used to send out. The other weird thing is, majority, except from the big, Ram is actually working for the revolutionaries, but is pretending to be the Empire Revolution. Most of stuff like this, the audience always knows.
Yes.
So it's the revelation for the characters
But
that
it's
you're
still-
witnessing,
it's still
and it
also
somehow
engaging.
feels more powerful
Yeah.
because you know, and you're getting to see these characters you've actually fallen to feel very fond of,
Yeah.
realizing the things that you wanted them to know, because that means one thing: Ram and Beam
Our
are
friends again.
separated. They are very far apart. One's in prison, and one has to get through an entire empire to be there, but they're on the same page.
Those good bitch.
Now they're both very adamant revolutionaries. The most powerful revolutionary in Beam, the one that is feared, the protector, and the man that was the Empire's inside job. Now, back on the first act of the film, they couldn't work together to take down the Empire because of
Yes.
Ram's cover. But now the cover's completely blown. These two gods can team up and fight the Empire.
Yeah.
The only thing stopping them is one's in a hole and one's a wee bit far away. But you know
So
what? That
Beam-
doesn't seem like that big of a problem.
That doesn't seem that big of a problem. So Beam manages to get to the prison. I don't think it says how long it takes him, but he gets to the prison. He scales a big wall, he breaks in, he's sneaking, he's crawling the floor, and he thinks, how am I going to find Ram? So he starts hitting the ground in a rhythm, and somehow Ram can... I don't think it's really how it works, but Ram can hear him.
No, they have this gift. It's
Mhm.
the not spoken word gift, because they've
Yeah.
got echo communication, all that jazz. They were able to talk when Ram was bet up with the snake.
Yes,
He was able to talk to him. The hand signals,
of course.
which I just did to your
Yeah,
side.
the hand signals go.
Yep. They have this unspoken language.
They do. And then Ram hears the thumps. He says, Beam, and he starts hitting the wall
He
as
comes
well.
back.
And they track each other down. Beam rips this cage that's protecting the hole. He rips it out of the ground, freeing Ram.
I forgot. It's so.
And then Ram, he can't walk. So Ram sits on Beam's shoulders.
Just like those friendship montages.
And they're running along. And then they're doing insane combo moves.
At some point, Ram sources a couple of guns.
Ram sources 2 bolt-action rifles, which he only cocks once, but he shoots like 18 times.
He is a god.
Like, there's a part where he shoots it 3 times in a row, and then after that, he shoots it once more, and then Beam goes and cocks it. He puts the guns down,
Yes.
cocks it, and then he shoots it another time, cocks it again, but then they just ignore that.
That's not important.
And then they make it out. They do their insane combo moves, but the British, they're tracking them down.
British are tracking them down.
British are tracking them down.
Right, here's where my memory, having
Okay.
watched this recently, goes a wee bit hazy.
This is the part which I can remember this part quite clearly.
Beautiful.
So they're here in the woods and they find themselves by a statue of, I think it's Shiva, the god Shiva, and it has a bow and arrow. It's got a bow quiver of arrows, and then
This is the big fight, isn't it?
this is the big fight.
big fight.
And then
Of course.
Beam was like, okay, stay here. I'm going to go and get you some water from the river. You heal.
Water.
Yeah.
It's the water.
Yeah, water.
Anytime water and
Exactly,
fire is
water.
in this film, it's relevant to the
Yeah.
characters.
And then the British are coming. It's British commandos, but it's old school, so it's pretty funny. So they have those like pan helmets
Yeah.
with like a little bit of like ghillie on them, a little bit of ghillie suit.
Now, Governor Scott's, what I'm going to call castle, fortress,
Is like is close
was
to
looking over the prison.
It's looking over the present and it's looking over this fight.
Which means it's now looking over the woods beside the fight, yeah.
And for some reason, Governor Scott's little like servant man, who is wearing like a butler suit, is also there amongst the commandos.
Yeah.
And then they're sneaking up.
Because he sent everyone.
Yeah,
He sent everyone.
They're sneaking up on Beam. And then they're about to shoot him, but an arrow flies through the woods and impales him. And he goes, "What?" And he turns around, and Ram is healed. He can walk
he's
yet
completely
again.
healed. He is wearing a orange kind of laurel.
Yeah, he took some of this fabric from the Shiva statue and he's wrapped it around himself. He's wearing it.
He now is the god Ram.
Yeah, he
based
is.
on the real god, Ram.
Exactly, yeah.
Oh, what a...
And then the fight ensues, several slow motions.
The single most badass thing.
There's
ever.
lots of fire. Beam.
Lots of fire, lots of water,
Beam
lots of
picks
everything.
up a bike and throws it at someone
Yes.
and it explodes. The fight reinforces my earlier point of Ram is much cooler than Beam very often, because most of the fight you're watching Ram and it gets to Beam, but his section's very short and it's back to
Yes.
Ram again. What Beam does is like he picks up a spear, he'll impale a guy, he punches the guy to death, like these little claw things. It's very good, but even this song is in favour of Ram. It's like Ram, the destroyer, Ram, the protector, and it's like Beam, the tiger of his clan.
Yeah, the song is now just bigging them up.
Yeah.
It's just been like, these guys are the best.
These guys are the best. They are, it's like, they are, how do I put this? They're almost like, Kratos from God of War compared to the other gods. They're like a cuttlefish. Like, normal people like cuttlefishes to giant squids compared to them. They are like,
I like calling them the best.
they're like Marks and Spencers to Aldi when compared to normal men. There's just not that much of a comparison.
Also, I feel like if you just sit down and say they are actually just your average Tollywood action hero to
like the extreme.
To Schwarzenegger,
Yeah.
they are better than Schwarzenegger. They are more
Exactly.
powerful than Schwarzenegger. See Commando on his hunt for Jenny, ain't nothing on Beam on his quest for his Jenny.
Exactly. And then, well, I don't know about that one. but
I was waiting for you to react.
But as they're fighting, they're like, okay, let's go, let's move out, let's get moving to the castle. Let's finish up, let's wrap this up, and we get a very, very good shot of the nighttime forest, and there's all these gunshots going off, all this fire. It looks very good. Gunnar Scott's like, "What the devil is that?" And he has, I think he has a radio, doesn't he? He's got a little radio that he uses to
Usually,
communicate.
yes.
I think his little servant gets killed. I think he gets like stabbed in the back or something. I do believe Beam like smacks a guy off a bike, gets on the bike. Ram gets a horse, gets on the horse.
No, he flips the bike with his own hand.
He flips the bike and he's on it.
Lands on it. Ram lands on a horse as they head to the fortress, riding through the forest.
They're being shot at by Governor Scott. I think like a mortar, or no, they get shot at by artillery.
Yes.
And then I think Ram gets a flaming arrow and shoots it into the fortress, igniting the ammo stash, blowing it up.
Yes.
And then we got the Governor Scott,
who is now sat on the rubble with his wife Cassandra, who not only has been blown up to shit, but has been tied up in all of the barbed wire and all that jazz, and is now draped, hanging
isn't she?
over
She's
his
like
body.
impaled as well.
Yeah, oh yeah.
She's impaled.
She's been killed by
and then-
15 different methods.
And then he's like, he's staring, yelling at his wife, who is completely demolished. She's been destroyed.
This guy, Ray Stevenson, is the Punisher.
Yes.
He is the Punisher.
What's that defensive? But he
It's
is.
relevant.
He's the Punisher.
And she's in Indiana Jones. Do you want facts about her? She's in the third Indiana Jones film.
It's crazy. Is she the one who yells a lot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
It's these are just things that I know that I haven't said, and I feel like they're about to get the bucket kicked, so I thought I might as well throw them in
It's
here.
fair enough.
Because Ram has what does he have left? Is it one bullet?
He has one bullet. Ram is sitting there, and then he says, Beam is about to they're about to kill Governor Scott. He's sitting there defenceless. He has nothing left to do, and he's pleading for his life. Or not? Well, not yet. Actually, sorry. And then Beam is like, we should kill him. And then Ram says, wait a minute. We have this bullet here, and it's travelled in a British ship, made in a British factory, travelled in a British cargo container all the way here into this rifle. And he says, I think he genuinely says, like, let's return it to the heart of Britain, let's return it to Britain. And he gives a gun to Beam, who's never shot a gun before. And he says, ready, aim, and Governor Scott's pleading, fire, and he shoots the gun, travels through Governor Scott's heart, he flies back in slow motion, and then a splash of blood falls on the flag which says the sun never sets on the British Empire.
That is called
Cinema.
amazing.
It's called Cinema, Ryan. It's perfect.
That's the last 3 hours of this film you should watch, because we didn't do it justice.
We didn't do justice.
That, especially that final fight.
That final fight
Is a payoff to every single thing
But
that was
remember,
ever set up.
it's not done yet.
It's not done yet, but just in terms of all of that is all of the payoffs you need.
So the film very quickly kind of wraps itself up. I think there's a shot of Beam and Ram together holding up the Indian flag, and then I think it cuts to the beginning of a musical dance number, which is also very good, by the way. And then
Is there not a part where Ram returns to his people?
it's entwined
Cut
in the middle
between,
of this.
It cuts back
scene.
and forth from a dance
It
number
cuts to Ram giving the guns to his people, going back to his people. It cuts to Beam delivering Mali back to his people.
They both achieved their mission.
I think Jenny goes with them.
Oh yeah, Jenny's now part of the crew.
Yeah, Jenny goes with them. Then it's a very good dance number. I think it pops up with several Indian politicians or freedom fighters, and they're talking about like their different kinds of freedom. Jenny is also in this dance.
Jenny's
number.
in
She's
it
the
way
only
too much.
only white person. I think she sings in Indian as well.
She's in it way too much.
Also, by the
dance
way,
number.
I'm pretty sure that
She also disappears for like the second half of the film, comes back and is the end.
also, I think. Oh wait, no, because earlier on in the film, where Beam is trying to find out where Ram is, he goes to Jenny, and she tells him. I forgot.
She pops back for a little sequence. That's
But
nice.
I'm pretty sure it was her debut film, the actor.
Yeah, that sounds about right.
It was her debut.
She was alright.
She's pretty good. I mean,
She's in a
she
Tollywood film,
She plays her role well.
playing a British alright lady
Yeah.
in comparison to all the other Brits, so
Yeah. And his dance numbers there, and it concludes, and you're just left with this feeling of satisfaction. It's on Netflix. I haven't watched it in English. I've only seen it in Hindi, but that's the way I prefer it. I like it in Hindi.
it's odd. It's
Because I feel like if it's in English, it would be way too weird having, Ram and Beam talking to the woman in English, and her being like, sorry, I can't understand you.
like the film Netflix do better.
Yes.
The film was shot in Telugu.
Exactly.
Then
Listen, I have searched
Hindi.
far and wide. I cannot find any piece of the original recording.
exactly, which means if you're watching it on Netflix, it's gonna look a wee bit funny.
Yeah, it's going to look a little bit funny. In the English parts, it's completely fine, because any time that an actor is speaking English, it's them speaking English. But I don't think they dubbed it over. I don't know if they dubbed over Ram speaking English, or they just left it the same.
It's odd because of the fact the film was shot in Telugu. And you watch
something
it in
I don't
Hindi.
know is what I'm thinking is see the song and dance numbers. I think those are the original audio.
That makes sense.
And what I also think is you look this up when I'm explaining it, but I wonder if they got the actors who play most of the characters to re-record their lines in Hindi, because Hindi is the most commonly spoken language in India. and for Beam and Ram especially, any parts where they're singing, it sounds like incredibly similar to any parts where they're speaking. Well, obviously they've been dubbed over.
It's because they want people to watch the film in their language that they're familiar with.
Yeah.
But I googled yesterday why the Telugu version, the proper version, isn't available on Netflix.
Yeah.
Because that would be nice. And I got 2 reasons. Thank you very much, the internet. Ignorance and buy the Blu-ray. It's so that you still go out and actually buy the actual film.
I want to get it so I can
to.
see it in the super high definition.
I really want to buy it on film. Yeah.
But yeah, RRR. If you haven't seen it already, then watch it.
Like there's not much better.
There's not much better than RRR.
Every time I watch it, it increases in my favourite films in my mind.
Yeah.
Every time I think about it, it gets better in my mind.
Yeah.
And see, once you're done watching it,
you want to watch it again.
I would recommend you watch it again, but you're gonna watch it again anyway.
I've seen it 3 times. I've seen it twice with you.
Yeah.
It hasn't been twice?
No.
I think we watched half of it. Like, again, I'm sure.
No. We watched it the once.
Watched it the once. Maybe we've seen it twice.
I watched it with yourself, my father, Lauren, and then last night I watched half of it.
I saw it with my family then too.
Yeah.
I feel like I've seen it again. I might have watched it with Josh, right?
Maybe.
I'll need to ring up about it.
It's just important, yeah.
Yeah. But that was RRR.
That was RRR, and that was a long episode, wasn't it?
That was a long episode, but it was a good start.
It was a very, very fun start to the podcast. We wanted to do something special for the first proper episode, so we decided to do one that is actually turned out to be double the length of our usual episodes, about a film that is double the length of a usual film.
It's the fact as well that this film is unique in the fact that it's a Tollywood film. It's an epic. It's insanely good. It's insanely silly. There's so much to like about it. There's very few things to dislike about it. And it's iconic. And of course, RRR 2, the sequel.
Yeah, there's an. Sure.
Yeah.
What do you think? What do you think about it?
I don't know, but I feel.
Look, they've killed Governor Scott. They've not killed the king.
I think it'll just be about a different story. It'll be different people, maybe.
Same actors are in it, I believe, because RRR is the.
But I don't know. I don't think it'll be as good as the first one.
No.
I think it'll be good, but it's a hard thing to match the first one.
That's why they have to kill the king.
Travel to Britain.
Kill the king.
Take over Britain.
Yeah, Indian Empire, baby.
Yeah.
That seems like the most apropos way to end this. My name is Ryan Robertson. My middle name is Richie. Does that make me anyway?
No, it doesn't. It doesn't.
It's a bit for later.
My name is Calum Mckinlay, and I am not joined by RRR. I am joined by Ryan Robertson. Don't inflate your ego too much, there, Ryan. Come on, you're not quite on par with RRR.
Tried.
You tried. You failed, didn't you? You failed.
See if I was RRR in this situation, he'd be like Governor Scott, just belittling me in the corner and making me feel like nothing. But I am something because I am God. Yeah.
Nah, not quite. I don't know about that one, but yeah.
See you next week.
See you next week.
Next Friday. See you next Friday. Random facts I want to randomly insert into the thing. I felt like it wasn't tonally alright to say that Ray Stevenson died at the age of 58.
Yeah.
The dance shakes the earth because it literally shakes. That was one I forgot. The RRR interval, that's always fun. Sita. Who's just weird. What one's on the... So, on the back of it, my RRR notes are going to be my notes for the Stone of Destiny podcast featuring George Surgeon. That's just fun.
It's gonna be awesome. I can't wait for it.